It's a peaceful Sunday here at the farm, and Tamara and I are just spending a little bit of time just enjoying that peace, aren't we?
Absolutely. It's so lovely. You can hear the birds singing.
Yeah.
It's not that sunny, but it doesn't matter. It's just peaceful.
Yeah. And that's got the brains working, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've just had a wander over to the barn to have a look at all the work that's being done. And I think, how did the conversation start? I think I was saying about how shabby the door to stable stays was looking, and how
we were talking about the big barn, and you had the brilliant idea, because we know that we're going to close up 2 of the gaps here.
Yeah.
Of making those into windows and having the central.
Sorry, I'm going to take a step back, because we actually, no, that's fine. We started at this door, and then we started talking about the fact that we have to reconcrete all of this area out here, and how we're going to do it, and whether we're going to have it on a slope because there's a real angle to it. We still can't pecker it out, because that would cause...
It could
disrupt the stonework of the barns.
But luckily, the concrete under these rubber mats is very broken up anyway, so it'll just be a question of getting the digger and lifting the concrete up.
Yeah, and then we were talking about whether we put the pavers down, similar to Hoyts and Jubbers. And then we moved on to the next door stable and what we're going to do with that. And then, as Tamara was just saying, we were looking at the entrances that have been here for this particular barn. So this is the area that sits underneath where our rug and feed room used to be. And so the original plan, Tamara, was what? To open up this middle doorway.
It was, because that was obviously the original doorway, but it was obviously filled in, and whether this was a doorway as well, I don't know, but that obviously has been repaired with red brick, similar age to when those 2 red pillars were put in, I'm guessing. So 50, 60, 70 years ago, maybe.
So we're going to open up this middle one, aren't we?
Yes.
And rather than blocking off these 2 doorways either side, because it's very dark in there, we thought actually it's better maybe to keep them open as windows.
Yes, that would make complete sense. Yeah.
And then we went back to this stable next to stable stays and thinking about what the best use is for it. And as Tamara said, we need it for the storage of equipment for stable stays. Yes. However, then that got us thinking about potentially opening up a window in the side of here, so that whichever horse is in stable stays could see into here if we use this as a stable as well. Because one of the things with stable stays is that whichever horse goes in there, they have to be happy being on their own and not seeing another horse, which limits the number of horses that can go and do it and benefit from it. Yeah. Whereas if they could see another horse next door...
through a little window...
Yeah, that would make both of those horses happier and more relaxed. It gives an added experience to people coming along that they have 2 horses to interact with. And then that led on to thinking that we could actually put a window from this stable going into here. And if money wasn't an object and you could get to do everything that you wanted to do, this area under here would make a fabulous 2-bedroom place.
2-bedroom accommodation with access, a doorway or a window or a stable door to the horse the other side.
Exactly.
So it'll be a 2-bedroom, because it's a massive space, 2-bedroom with a bathroom, open plan, kitchen and living room.
I had this wonderful image of, you sat there in an open plan kitchen and dining room, sat watching the TV or having your dinner with a horse with their head through the stable door or through the window.
That'd be lovely.
It would be amazing. I mean, we obviously couldn't have carpeted floors because they'll dribble everywhere, especially if it was Uber and his sloppy soup. But
Oh yeah, you'd have carpets in the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Not in the open plan area, but that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I know, it's amazing the creative ideas that we can come up with on a quiet Sunday.
Quiet Sunday.
You know, and it may all be unrealistic, but as I always say, don't look back unless you can smile, and don't look ahead unless you can dream.
And we've not known what to do with this space.
No.
Because it's just been storage for rubbish and stuff.
No, that was all your wood
Well, that's not all rubbish and stuff.
and shavings, which is
And
quite
shavings,
important. Yeah.
But that feels right, doesn't it?
It does, and it's just
Like Stable Stays did when Jill first jokingly said to us, "Oh, you could sleep next to a horse in here." And
Yeah.
we both went, "Oh,
Wow.
but having this block downstairs."
Yeah. I love it because it means that it keeps two horses happy. They get the interaction that they'd love, and it means that more families would be able to come and stay in here. And just like that whole track has felt right to do, this just
It's
feels...
as if something... Oh, I'm going to sound very deep now.
Well, it's International Women's Day.
It is, isn't
Yeah,
it? I
as
forgot
Frey
that.
reminded us this morning.
Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah.
But it's like being guided, isn't it, gently by something or somebody or whatever.
Well, it
to
is.
know.
It's the universe guiding things to where
I've just
they ought
noticed
to go.
this up here. It feels like it should have a name on it.
I think it should have Lindsay on it, really.
What a good idea.
That was something else I was thinking about earlier while I was
is it?
enjoying the piece. Yeah.
I've already ordered the plaque to go up here.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It says, whereas the plaque we have for the shipping says rebuilt 2025 TKA and TAA.
Not that I've really had anything to do with it, but thanks
Yes,
for
you
putting my
have.
initials
Yes,
on
you
there.
have. And I've already ordered the plaque to go on the top barn that says stabilised 2026 TKA TAA LE something F.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. Anyway, who knows whether it'll ever happen. And then I jokingly said to Tamara when we were upstairs looking at, you know, whether we could get the floors raised a little bit, which isn't an option. I said, do you reckon we'd get a grant to do this? And given that you had an email this last week, go on, tell everyone about the email you had.
The email came from the same department that we applied for the 3 grants. And because we're down as having vouchers for help with applying for the grants, they sent out a form asking for feedback on
How it all went,
all went.
how those advisors did on
and
for their money.
And they want the feedback so they can continue to help businesses improve.
Oh.
So I wrote a rather...
Oh, it was a brilliant reply that you sent. Basically, stop insulting me with your emails and your requests.
This is insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not filling out the form.
No.
So,
But if anyone wants to apply for a grant for us to do this, then yeah, you're very welcome.
yeah,
Some of you might have better luck than we would.
I don't even know if there's grants available nowadays.
No.
'Cause I've stopped.
Well, our grants available. On paper they're available,
On
but they're
paper.
not actually available. Anyway, that was our little Sunday chat
Sunday musings.
Yes. Yeah. Best not walk around anywhere else because otherwise I'll have all sorts of other ideas.
Yeah, let's stick to just a few at once.
Never. We need to have 10 on the go. Anyway, again, happy International Women's Day, everybody.
Yeah.